Okay, Danny, I think it's a good moment to start. It's 9:10. So I'm going to introduce again ourselves and the purpose of this webinar. So I'm Alexandra Gontier-Hochart, the Executive Director of the French-American Chamber of Commerce. And the role of the Chamber of Commerce is to facilitate the creations of companies here, French companies, which are coming obviously from France. We help entrepreneurs, we help companies from all sizes to be established here in Chicago and Illinois. So we have different kind of events, and one of them is the breakfast seminar. Obviously, the breakfast seminar that we organize are in person, and that is why we have another kind of format, this webinar, with people who are abroad. So this is the second webinar of the year. We had the first one in beginning of February with someone who is in Barcelona, and we have the second one this morning with Danny, who is in France at the moment. So thank you, Daniela, for joining us. And obviously, we can also do this kind of events in French, but this one, as we have an international audience, this event will be in English. So thank you, Danny. I let you introduce yourself, and then you can move forward with your presentation.
Thank you, Alexandra, for the introduction. My name is Daniela Villavicencio, and today we're going to talk about fitting into boxes. So should we fit in one box? Are you ready? Yes? Great. So this talk is for all of you who are good at looking like you fit in different boxes. It can be your industry, your social group, or any interest you have. It is like you can feel different because you not only fit in one box, but you can fit into many of them. So if you have ever felt like this, I have good news for you today. You are not alone. I mean, I also feel this way sometimes. So there are at least two of us, so you and me. I would like to start telling you my personal story. I was born in Venezuela in 1992. And the first time I thought about this was in 2008, when I was about to start college. I was a very good student. I had very good grades, and I love different topics. I love languages, I love science, I love people. But I had to choose only one career. So I ended up choosing engineering. But during my free time, I was part of clubs and associations that opened me to different worlds. And I also took electives in politics, in philosophy, in economics that taught me different things. So you can see a picture of me here having my engineering degree. I was very happy. And then in 2014, it was the first time I asked myself some questions about my identity, because I moved to France in 2014. Until then, I fit 100% into the Venezuelan box. But I was feeling that I was starting to fit into the French box as well. So it was interesting for me that I could fit into the two boxes at the same time. So you can see here a picture of me some years ago in front of the Town Hall in France. Then I came to France because I had the opportunity to do a PhD. I had the opportunity to accomplish my childhood dream. I always dreamt of doing working at a space agency. So I had a scholarship to come to France to work at the French Space Agency. You can see here a picture. I was very happy. And you can see here the day I became a doctor. All these people was the people of my jury. They were very happy. Apparently, I did a very good job. And while I was doing my PhD, I discovered I also had different passions. I love sports, I love different topics, I love entrepreneurship, finance, economics, personal development, etc. And I started to blog about it. And I was very scared of what others will think of it, because I was a PhD and engineer, and I was starting to write about these topics. So at the same time, I was working at Safran. It was a logical step after my PhD. Safran is a French company that is a leader in aeronautics, and I work in the braking system of airplanes. So I was doing different things back then, and still, no. And you can see here a picture of the landing gear of a plane. This is my work at Safran. And I continue, while I was working and living in France, I continued to study and to learn about the French culture. I love the French culture, the French history, and I wanted to become French because I also felt French. So you can see here a picture of me the day I became French with the prefect. We are dressed almost the same. We didn't plan it. And I was also very happy for it. And then something unexpected happened during the French ceremony. I met the mayor of the city during the ceremony in which I became French, and he proposed me to be part of his team. And in 2020, I became a city councilor. And here there is a picture of the day I officially became a city councilor. And then in 2021, I started talking about personal finance in YouTube. So I tell you all of this to tell you my story and to share with you all the boxes that are part of my life: the languages, the science, people, my two nationalities, sports, blogging. I am a city councilor and also a politician and a YouTuber. And I would like to tell you with this that all these aspects are what make me special. So should we fit in one box? I would like to tell you that not fitting into a box makes you unique. Because we're told we live in a black and white world where the game is to get good at only one thing. It's like we should choose a planet. You know, there is the planet of lawyers, of engineers, of bakers, journalists, and politicians. But some of us just are not that person at heart, and we can feel stuck sometimes. And what if the mistake is not in how you are, but in how you were told you should be? There is even a word for it. This word is called being liminal. It describes the state of in-betweenness, like this guy here that is in the orbit between the planet of engineers and the planet of politicians. It is like you are not quite one thing, but not quite another. You are on the borderlines, a part of this, but also a part of becoming. But what is the alternative? What do you think? I propose you today to create your own planet, and it can take the best of the different worlds you have a foot in. So I propose you right now to take a piece of paper, if you have 1 minute, and write down all the different planets, the different boxes you have in your life. So if you have a piece of paper, feel free to do it right now. Do you have it, Alexandra?
Yes, so I suggest to leave three minutes.
3 minutes, okay.
So we can draw this in our on paper and do the bubbles that we have. Okay,
Perfect.
3 minutes.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm good.
You are good? You would like to share yours?
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
So like you, I have also two citizenships. What else? I'm also an entrepreneur. I created also a company end of 2019. I'm also interested about languages. I'm teaching also French for people who would like to travel to Paris. So I have also my Instagram account, Parisian Academy. I'm obviously the executive director of the French American Chamber of Commerce, which is like a lot of work to do every day. I'm also a public affairs consultant. And on top of that, I'm also a mom and a
Wow.
wife. So that's a lot of things.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, Alexandra. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I hope everyone had thought about their different boxes and those that are coming also, because life is unexpected. You know, you don't know what is going to happen next.
Exactly. So that's really the magic of life, that you can have an idea for the next year, for the next 2 years, but something can come up in your life, and then you have a new hat to wear.
Exactly.
And I did actually I did a post about that in my personal account on Instagram. It was 3 days ago, about the fact that I'm also the president of my community of the business school, HEC. So I also have this role. So another bubble to
Yeah,
add.
another. Yeah, another one to add.
No, these are
Please.
things that come up in your life, and you don't expect, actually. And maybe you, Danny, you will have something else in 3 months, or in 1 year, or in 5 years. So that is why we are not, I think that you're right, because we're not just in only one box. We can be everywhere, and we can shape our own universe.
Exactly. And I think we should open also our mind to the different things that are coming and that we don't know, and let the life also surprise us. That's very nice. Yeah. So now that we finished this little exercise, I would like to tell you that, do you know what this describes? For me, this describes leaders. This is what leaders do. I mean, when we think of, for example, Leonardo da Vinci, Steve Jobs, or Elon Musk, of these people have done many things in their lives. For example, Leonardo da Vinci was not only a painter, but also a sculptor, an engineer, or an architect. You know, the same thing for Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. So should we fit in one box? Not fitting in a box not only makes you unique, but also describes leaders. And what about innovation? When we think, there was one person that decided that he or she was going to mix the planet of phones with the planet of cameras. He or she was going to create the first camera phone. The same for the person who had the idea, who meets the words of machines and the word of dishes, and created the dishwasher. So I would like to share with you this quote that Shuk Shobota said. Shuk Shobota is a contributor at Forbes and a writer about the intersection of leadership and innovation. He said that the kind of creative thinking that leads to serious innovation requires approaching challenges without any boxes. And I would like to add that the innovator's thinking is defined by its transversality. So I share you here the photos of two pictures. On the left side, the photo of Philippe Kahn, and on the right side of the photo of Josephine Cochrane. Philippe Kahn is a French guy, by the way. He's a mathematician, but he also has a degree in musicology. He's a serial entrepreneur, and he created the first camera phone. On the right side, we see Josephine Cochrane, and she created the first dishwasher. And by the way, she sold her first product in Chicago. So should we fit in one box? I already told you that not fitting in a box makes you unique. That also not fitting in a box defines leaders, but also not fitting in a box can make you innovate. So I encourage you today to continue seeing the world without boxes. I encourage you to open your mind, to travel, to learn a new language, to learn a new topic, to study different industries or fields. It is time now to write your story. So here you have written your different planets. So it is time to mix all these planets and to build your own planet, because this is what makes you perfectly you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dani. What I suggest is to open a Q&A. Okay. So there is a box, Q&A box in the black bar just down the screen. So feel free to add your questions. If you want to speak as well, let me know and I can open the mic to you, and it can be just the mic or also the video, whatever you wish. So please let us know.
Maybe you can share your boxes, if you want to.
Yeah, so, well, it's a drawing,
Very creative. Nice.
So your slide is better, obviously, because you can design.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh, I see somebody's writing.
Just a second. Can you read the questions? Yeah, you can read it.
Yeah, I have one from Corina Aro. Dani, thank you for the invite. How do you do to take the time to do all the things with all the planets? How do you prioritize? Good question. The question is in Spanish, so I don't know if answering in Spanish and then you translate the answer in English, or I don't know.
In English.
Okay.
That's the answer.
Yeah, I think there is now, we have the idea that there is a perfect equilibrium and we all have a perfect life with the time of do a lot of things. I mean, I try to do my best to exercise daily and to post daily on Instagram. And sometimes I do it, but sometimes you can't, and you should accept that, you should organize yourself in your agenda. I organize myself every Sunday, and every day in the morning when I start the day, I have a list of the things that I would like to accomplish that day. And almost every time I do all of that list. And if I don't have the time to finish all the things I want to, that is not a big deal. I continue the next day, but every day I have the goals that are in the same how can I say that, in a harmony with my month goals and with my year's goals. So I think it's not easy, but yeah, I think we should all try to organize and to put ourselves like daily and weekly objectives.
We have another question, but I think it's also related to the schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see why the question disappeared.
How do you plan your schedule every day to do all those things?
Oh, here it's here. Yeah, how do you plan your schedule every day?
I think the hardest time for me was when I was doing my PhD, because at the end of the PhD, I was working at Safran And I also was posting in my blog, and I had different roles. And I had a very hard agenda. Like I woke up at 5:30. I did some sport from 5:30 a.m. to 6:30. And then at 7, 8, I went to work. Then I worked until 6, 8, 6, 7 in the afternoon. It was like a very tight schedule. With almost no time to enjoy, or but it lasted like 1 year, and it was very hard. I'm not going to say this it is easy. It's not easy every time, but I mean, when you have your goal in mind, once you accomplish that goal. So I got my PhD. I became French. I was doing that all the same time also, and I worked at Safran. And you share all your different. You have to be honest with your colleagues as well, because sometimes you are not able to come to the parties. You are not able to be everywhere. So if you are honest, and you're going to be you need to have discipline as well. And I think you can do it for short periods of time. I think right now, I am scheduling more times for me, for inspiration, for having fun. And I think we try to have this equilibrium, to say that. But sometimes we do what we can.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Is try to find a balance. I know it's not very easy to find a balance, because this is what we have in mind in theory, but then in practice it can be hard to find this balance. If I can share also my personal experience is, I've been working a lot for many years, and since my studies, I've been doing, like, for example, 2 master's degree in the same time, and I'm used to do a lot of things at the same time. But now in the professional life, and since I'm a mom as well, my priority is also my kid. So even if my week is full of meetings, full of works, I know that there is a day that I want to spend with my son, not the whole day, but at least one afternoon with my son. And this is something that it's my discipline, it's because otherwise I can work the seven days in 24 hours in a row, because there is no limit. I have a huge to-do list. I can work all the time.
Me too. No stop.
Exactly. So I need to find a discipline. I need to focus also in my personal well-being.
Exactly.
And my personal well-being is obviously to rest, to find time to meditate, and also to find time with my loved ones, because this is part of my life. And obviously, for me, they're a priority. So when it comes to my son, for example, obviously I don't want to come back at home every day very late, because he's going to sleep early because he has school the next day. So there is a day in the week where I say to myself, okay, Alexandra, you have a lot of work, but this is your day with your son, and it can snow outside, it can rain outside, it can what happened everywhere in the world. Okay, this is your day with your son, no matter what. So this is the discipline that I have, and I try to commit because this is my priority. And if we don't do that, we're gonna be frustrated in the long run, because we are going to think, oh, I allocated too much time to this, and meanwhile other people are suffering from this. So I think that in the conclusion, I think the balance has also to deal with discipline, the discipline that we have to stick.
Yeah, I love that. I love everything you said because you should know your priorities. And because when you do so many things, you can easily be frustrated because you are not going to have to do everything. And when you know your priorities, you know, that at least you did what was important for you. And for me, that is the key.
Thank you. Yeah. We have other questions. So let's take one by one. So the first one, so I'm wondering if the FACC already uses this kind of approach described by Daniela in terms of your help and aid given to your members. Yes, do you mean to have different roles in your life, like for example for entrepreneurs who would like to do something else?
She continued her question.
Yeah.
For example, concerning members that have the potential, the money, etc.
But then exactly have their business subject. Yes. Actually, before the pandemic, the FACC used to have a program, the dual mentoring, and this dual mentoring is supposed to connect a mentee with a mentor. I'm not talking about the professional mentoring committee. This is another committee, but there is a separate committee with people who are building their businesses. So if you're interested about that, if you are a member in Chicago and you would like to define your business ideas, please send us an email and we can connect you with people.
Yeah, we have another one.
We have another from class. What inspired you to think outside the box?
That's a good question. I think it's my personality. I am a very curious person, and you know, I love many things. I didn't want to decide only one thing. I was open to live my life and to be free. It's like, for me, that is freedom, you know, to have the possibility to choose your path. And I think it's my personality, you know. Yeah.
I agree. This is it's part of your personality. I remember that when I was in licence, so the BA degree, I had a conversation with the orientation department of my school at that time, and they told me, oh, you know, Alexandra, you have to choose. You cannot do it everything. And I was, yeah, I want to pursue to have a master's degree in public affairs. I also want to do philosophy and I also want to do other things. And it's no, you have to choose. You have to only choose one thing. And and I was very stubborn and really focused on my on the fact that I really wanted to do some other things. And I heard my personal inner voice, and I got my master's degree in philosophy. I got also my degree at HEC and other degrees afterwards. So I think you can do it all, actually. You can, obviously you cannot do the 10 things in the same time, because maybe at some point you have to focus in your life, maybe do 2 things and 3 things and so on. And then you can move to the, in 3, yeah, exactly. But I really think that it's, you don't have to choose all the time. I mean, if you are really convinced about your own capabilities of doing several things and you enjoy and you have multiple passions, maybe this year you're going to focus on music, maybe the next year you're going to focus on the master's degree that you desire, you've been desiring for many years, or in 5 years later you're going to focus on something else. So I think we really can do several things, and it's and if your inner voice is really telling you that that you will be happy doing these things, so don't hear other people who will say that you have to choose and just do one thing in your life.
Exactly, I agree. Do you imagine someone telling Leonardo da Vinci that he should choose only one thing? It should have been very sad for humanity, you know, like, oh, we don't have the Mona Lisa because he was just a sculpture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think we all have different passions, but we have not yet discovered them. you know, because I didn't know I love like speaking in public. I didn't know I love politics. I didn't know many things about me. And the more I discovered and the more I tried, the more I said to myself, wow, I also like this, you know. Before I didn't exercise every week or every day as I'm doing right now. And when I started 10 years ago, when I was 20 years old, I said to myself, like, now I need to exercise every day. Yeah, sometimes I do not exercise, but at least 3 times per week, you know. And I think the more you discover, the more you like it, and the more you feel accomplished as well. And as you said, like, maybe not everything at the same time, but you do one thing next, then the other one, and then you can balance all your hats, as you said.
Yes, exactly. I'm pretty curious about your PhD time. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, it was very hard. Yeah, the PhD was like a transformation for me because it was in a field in a very masculine field. You know, there were no many women over there, and there were, yeah, it was hard for that. And it was a very challenging environment. You had to work a lot. And it was the first time in which I participated in conferences and all over the world. So I had to speak in public. So it taught me many things. It taught me that you can be feminine and also be be an engineer, you know, because some people told me that it's weird, you are an engineer and you are doing a PhD because you look so feminine, you know. And it was like, there is a problem with that, you know, like that's weird. And I accepted myself like the first, why not me? Why I couldn't do both, you know, like have the lipstick and be a mechanical engineer as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What
Yeah,
is
I
the
worked
percentage of female in your industry?
the person, I don't know exactly the percentage, but I know that they are encouraging women to have more leadership positions and specifically in the fields of science, because there is no that notion of parity, and the French government is doing a lot of things about it, and they tell companies to promote more women, and that's cool. That's cool. No, not only because you are a woman, but also to teach women that they can be in those roles, you know, and give them the confidence to do those roles. And yeah, I was very happy. I mean, I was lucky. I had a pretty, I work a lot, but also my colleagues were very nice with me. And yeah, I did a very good job. When I got my PhD, I was so happy because it was a lot of work, but yeah, I am proud of myself. I did it. Yeah.
And what other people think, because now that we know that you are elected in France, that you have also your YouTube channel, you are also managing your Instagram page, you are an engineer, you are doing a lot of things. What other people think about your multiple hats?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what they think, but
Because these are like really different words, totally different words.
yeah, I was very scared. At the beginning, I said like, oh my God, you know, like I was scared that people will think that anything was coherent, you know, like what is she doing with her life? But I think it's one of my, it's not a weakness. I think it's a strength, because you have a very atypical, I have a typical path. And I think it is.
I did it on purpose. I didn't on purpose to have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was good. And this atypical path, I think it creates leaders. I discover myself during, I read a lot about personal development and about leadership and about all these people who did a lot of things. And at the beginning, I was scared. And the more I read about those people that had innovated, I started to understand that they had test different things. So what I thought at the beginning was a weakness or that made me vulnerable, now I think it's one of my biggest strengths. And I encourage everyone to do this because, you know, now I feel like I have so much to discover still. I'm very open to the world, but I have the opportunity to try different things and to discover myself during this path. And I hope everybody is going to, I don't know exactly what they think to answer to your question, but I hope everybody thinks that it's something positive, because I know it is.
And very transformative at the end. Yeah. That's good. Let me see if we have other questions. The chat, if we didn't miss other questions. Oh, we missed the one question. How do you when what to get out of one box when you can't at the moment because it's your financially safe box?
I like this question. I think he or she, it's Jessica, I think. I don't know who is asking this. Yeah, I think it's about your main income stream. Yeah,
I think this is a good question for the other box that you have, because you are also providing advice for personal finance in your YouTube channel and your Instagram channel. So
yeah, I love that question.
Yeah.
It's a very good question, because I always say that you should diversify your income streams. And at the beginning, you are going to have one main income stream that gives you your salary. And when time passes, you should diversify and invest your money or your time in other income streams until the other income streams give you time to live with them. And if there is any box you don't like anymore, if you say to yourself, I want to be a YouTuber, if I decide tomorrow to be a YouTuber 100%, I know I am not ready yet because it does not give me enough money to live with. But I know that I can work on it and live with all the boxes. And from here to 5, 3 or 2 years, the YouTube box is going to give me more and more money to live with. Or you can develop some income streams, like different income streams, like writing a book or creating an online course in something you are very good at. And when you do this, you become independent of all the boxes. You know, if one day you want to change one box, you change it. Yeah.
Yeah. And what if so if I'm continuing in that direction, so let's say you want to have other things in your life, you want to have another box, but you don't find the opportunity to be there, and you only have one box, and you have the desire to be somewhere else, but you didn't have the opportunities. What do you recommend in that situation?
That's a very good question. I mean, I didn't plan to have all the boxes I have today. What I did 10 years ago when I was starting college was to learn French. So I started learning French at school for free. I earned any money. So I didn't pay any money because my school was free in Venezuela. I see some colleagues from the same school here, connected here, so they know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I took some French courses, and it helped me then to get the scholarship to move to France. I was part of a Erasmus program, and what is funny is it is that I think it was this atypical background, not only being an engineer, not only being an engineering student, but also I was also part of different associations. I also spoke French, and it helped, and I had good grades. So everything was like, wow, this is weird. So we're going to promote this. And they gave me the opportunity to come to France. And when I arrived in France in 2014 for my PhD, I also got a scholarship for the same reasons, because I always continue to learn different things. And then I moved to Germany. I lived in Germany for 3 months. I have lived in 5 different countries. So I have been very curious every time almost. And I think that's what people don't expect that, you know, and they want to help you because they realize that that's what makes you rich, and you are curious, and you are going to work for your different curiosities, for your different dreams. And yeah, I think it's, you know, you can start learning something for free. And then I started to read books and to see YouTube videos also for free in entrepreneurship and personal finance. Everything started like that. You know, I didn't say like, I'm going to be an expert on personal finance. Like, yeah, I was curious about it. I read a lot about it. I took some courses about it. And yeah, now I have, of course, the compound effect. I don't know if you have read that book. It's amazing, that book, because if you do a little bit every day, after 5 or 10 years, you are going to be an expert in that field. So I have read about personal finance and personal development since 2014, since the beginning of my PhD. So I see the consequences right now. So it's it's a lot of work, but you don't realize it because you do a little bit every day.
Exactly. Good to know. And yes, it's what you're saying is that the fact to be curious and to learn something new every day, this will attract new opportunities, and this can also this will help you to shape your own universe that we were talking about. So in that way, you can just go outside of one box and try to find other things to do, and to build your universe in that way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me see if it was the last question. I think yes, it was the last question. Oh, there is a new message.
Yeah.
Do you find it complicated to diversify your activities and wear multiple hats in France? That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah, because we don't have the same culture in the US, and I think this is more. It is easier in the US. But this is a good question for France. It seems pretty hard to get rid of labels there. Yeah, I let you ask the question, Danny.
Oh my God, that's a very good question, because I come from Latin America, when we have more or less that American culture in which you can do many things, and that's great, you know. In France, it has been challenging to share all these things with others. It has been very hard for me personally, because I was afraid of judgment. You know, I was like, what people are going to think if I tell them that I was yesterday talking to the mayor and today I'm giving a presentation on, I don't know, on the landing gear of airplanes. And it is hard, I think, also because you are vulnerable to others' opinions, and it's not always easy to handle that. But at the end of the day, I have 2 choices. So I think one choice is like to do what others expect you to do, or to do what you want for your life, you know. And I said to myself, like, if I do what others expect me to do, I am going to be very sad. And I don't want to be sad. I want to have a fulfilled life. And it's not always easy, because you don't fix in your social group sometimes. But I think at the end of the day, it's what makes me happy and what makes me feel accomplished. So I listen a lot to myself, even if it's not easy every time.
I agree with your point of view, and I have experienced also the same thing when I used to live in France, and especially because in France, usually people after high school, they do their licence and then the master's degree, and then they go to work. So this is a traditional path. In the US is different, because after high school, they do their BA for 4 years, and then they work for some years. And after, let's say, after 5 years of professional experience, they apply for a master's degree, which is different, because in France, we do everything straight. After high school, let's say 3 years, 5 years of college studies, and then the professional work, right? And in France, we have this idea that if you got a degree in that field, you will only work in that field. If you did Polytechnique, you're going to be an engineer and you're going to work in that field for life. If you have a degree in languages, you're going to be a teacher or a professor, and you're gonna stay there forever. And I think it's really different in the US, and it's easier to have multiple hats, because, as I said, we have a gap between the BA and the master's degree. People have some experience in between, and this experience can be in anything. It can be in different industries, different type of occupations as well. And I think people are more allowed to do different things. And it's not because you are coming from that school, from that specific school, that you are going to land in that company. Obviously, there are some exceptions, but in general, I think in the American way of mind, we have more flexibility, because people don't, I think, in America, people want to hire you because you have, because you are coming from that college or business school, but because they are seeing what you like to do and where you are good at. And this is, I think, the main filter before the traditional, the school and so on. So yeah, it's a different way of thinking, and that is why it's not uncommon to see doctors with a YouTube channel, and doctors in TikTok. But this is, I think, in Europe, people are more conservative, and it's maybe the new generation from 2000 and onwards. They can have multiple things to do at the same time, and yeah. But in the US, it's already, I think it's already a trend to do multiple things.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, I think we don't have other questions. It's 10 a.m. So this is the final, the end of the webinar. Thank you for staying with us until the end. And if you have questions for Dani or for me, don't hesitate to contact us by email. Dani is also available on Instagram. She has her own page, Dani in Finanzas.
Sí, Dani Finanzas.
Dani Finanzas. And she has also her YouTube channel, and obviously you can also contact her. Thank you, you brought there, and also by LinkedIn. So thank you very much, and have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.